It is okay to be skinny.
Most young guys are not eating the most healthy things.
No.
Most people should be more regimented with the way they eat. It shouldn't be a free-for-all.
With a 2014 poll finding that men worry more about their appearance than their health, family, relationships, or professional success.
When I was 16, I remember I was trying to cut a little bit of body fat. I told you guys about this, and I went on a 1,000 calorie diet. The performance is the thing that should be focused on rather than always how the body looks.
A lot of people start lifting weights because they want to be more significant. They want to be stronger. And why do you want to be stronger? Break that down. Maybe you want to be stronger because you want to be able to defend yourself. Maybe you think that if you build yourself up big enough that people won't mess with you. But what if you just did something different? What if instead of that, you went to jiu-jitsu in the first place or went to wrestling in the first place? You know, if you think of some of the young guys that are in here, I think it's very relatable to this video that we're about to watch. But my own son, Jake, Owen, Wyatt, you look at some of the guys, Mitch, and, my son lost probably 25 pounds or 20 pounds of body fat. But he also, in that process, was working on gaining muscle. Owen's done the same thing. I don't think we're going to push any of those guys out onto a bodybuilding show right at the moment.
Yeah.
But they look great. They made huge progress, and that's something to feel really good about. So I don't have any idea how any of those guys feel individually about themselves. But when you're coming from a background where you had more body fat and you showed yourself that you know how to transform your body, you should be feeling really damn good. And I think that's ultimately what this is about. Let's check out this video to kind of get a little bit more in depth on what these people are dealing with.
It is okay to be skinny. I know that might sound like a weird thing to hear. Maybe it sounds unnecessary for it to hear because when we think of weight issues, we often think, of people trying to lose weight. But actually, for a surprising share of young men, that is a revolutionary statement. But we're constantly inundated with an ideal masculine physique that's fucking shredded, big biceps, broad chest, six-pack abs. Hell, I'm guilty of having this mindset. Well, we're all familiar with the body image problems typically suffered by women, leading them to feel like they're too fat or don't have big enough butt or boobs. Male body dysmorphia is largely unrecognized and understudied. But now, more than ever, doctors are raising the alarm about it. With people like Gabriela Vargas, a pediatrician at Boston Children's Hospital, telling parents they need to be looking out for certain red flags. Things like boys becoming hyperfixated on what they're eating, having highly regimented meals, cutting out food groups, or dramatically increasing their protein intake. Well, the data is hard to come.
Dude, do you guys remember when you first started paying attention to this stuff? What did you do?
I was probably 14, and I remember asking my mom if she can buy more chicken breast and stuff like that, and more eggs and things like that. Yeah. I think it was a great transition for me. It was a great transition for my brothers. My brothers might have already been doing it, so I followed their lead.
Yeah, when I was 16, that's when I had my mom get me my first bottle of Gold Standard from Costco. And I was doing 3 scoops of protein a day along with food, and I was gaining some mass pretty fast. And she's like, "Are you sure that's good for you?" But the thing is we didn't have to deal with social media at the time, which is we saw stuff in cartoons like fucking Dragon Ball Z. We may have seen stuff in magazines and maybe some TV shows, but it wasn't like we were looking at sick physiques every single day for hours on end and paying attention to fitness influencers as deeply as guys do now.
The 3 of us might go for a workout. We're 15. And we get home from a workout, and I look, and I see Nsima made a post, and he's flexing his serratus muscles, and then I sit there and feel sad, and then I text Andrew. I'll be like, "You see this picture Nsima posted?" Then he gets sad. We both get sad, and now we're all crying.
Yeah.
Except for you.
What do you guys think about this right here, though? If your kid starts, eating more protein, could you rewind a little bit to the highlighted part? Because he highlighted that little part. It's a few seconds.
No, I think this is healthy.
Yeah, becoming hyperfixated on what they're eating. Okay, let's quickly talk about that. Most kids, most young guys, they're not eating the most healthy things.
No.
Right?
No, not at all. I'm really grateful my daughter can differentiate on her plate what's the protein, what's a carb, and what's a fat or whatever. And I was shocked that that's not common. I was just interesting. What are your parents eating then? You know what I mean? It just blew me away.
I didn't learn. Yeah, same here. I didn't learn deeply about that stuff. I knew kind of what protein was, but I didn't know the deep aspects of fat and processed carbohydrates. And
that's a little bit different, but yeah.
Until I was maybe 17, 18. And that's not an unhealthy thing. Especially if most guys are eating cereal and processed foods and sedentary. What percentage of America is obese right now? Even young kids.
Right.
They probably should become a little bit more understanding and fixated on what they're eating. Having highly regimented meals. again, it can. So the thing is, it can go to eating disorder territory, but most people should be more regimented with the way they eat. It shouldn't be a free for all.
People that are in good shape have regimented meals. I do understand, what they're saying. Like, it could be too much, right? Like, if the kid, is choosing not to eat because there's cheese on top of their chicken breast, right? Like,
yes.
So they might be referring to things that are like more extreme than what we're talking about. But I think it's healthy, and I think if your kid, if you have a kid and they start to talk to you about this kind of stuff, this is great. This is a great education opportunity. And if they get scared, that you had chicken thighs instead of chicken breasts and stuff like that, that's where you can start to explain stuff and say, well, you need fat. You're at a young age. You're playing football. You're out in the sun. You're running. You're doing all these things. You need nutrients. You need calories. And you need a certain amount of calories to afford you to be able to build muscle later on. And muscle is going to be something that's going to help you to control and manage your weight throughout the rest of your life. So let's eat the damn chicken thighs. They taste better too.
Yeah, and just to comment on the opposite of unregimented, like you were just saying, like my daughter, like we were having this conversation because after we had Katie Hogan on, she was like, well, just start taking note when she does get hungry and she wants to eat, because I had asked her, like, what the heck, she doesn't want to eat breakfast, and I hate sending her out the door without, some high protein meal. And so as we're talking, she's like, oh, but I get hungry at 10, but like I can't eat in class. And I'm like, just be a bad student. Like, I don't care. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. So like, even though she wants to eat something somewhat healthy, she doesn't have the option because like everyone's telling her she can't eat at this time. And then when lunchtime does come around, it's like not good options. Yeah. And so it's like, if I don't send her out with a plan, like the alternative is not looking too good. And so that's what I think, we're getting at is like the opposite of a regimented, meal timing, meal plan. It's not good. It's not good at all.
I think you're hitting a nail on the head. Like, a lot of times once a kid leaves the house, especially if they're going to school, if it's a young guy who wants to like bodybuild, all his hopes and dreams aren't in the lunch that they have at school.
Nope.
Like, it's all bullshit food. A lot of times it's just like crappy lunch meat. They just don't have that at school. And so that's when the kid might want to like bring his own Tupperware around and do all these things. And it might seem really weird to some people, but sometimes it takes some drastic measures, I think. And I think people eating more protein is a huge thing. I think our children don't eat enough protein and our elderly don't eat enough protein. So having your kids drive towards more protein, I think, is great.
Yeah. This is one thing that I like, guys, like we do understand that there are some people that can take this too far. And that's where maybe a parent has a bit of understanding on nutrition so that they can be like, when I was 16, I remember I was trying to cut a little bit of body fat. I told you guys about this, and I went on a 1,000 calorie diet. Yeah, I started to feel dizzy in class 3 days later.
You just weren't committed.
Wasn't committed enough, bro. Right, but that is obviously unhealthy. Yeah. And then as I continued to learn more about nutrition, I was like, oh wow, I was definitely under eating for my size. Got to eat more food if I want to feel everything I'm trying to do. So yeah, kids might do some stupid shit, and kids might take it way too far, and maybe some kids get led down the route of eating disorder. But some of these things, if a kid starts doing them, aren't bad. There's one side of things like, oh yeah, let a kid be a kid and eat whatever. But then that's how we end up with like kids who are really overweight, really unhealthy, and don't have an understanding of nutrition. There's a middle ground.
Talking a little bit more about boys, but my daughter going to like volleyball practice, I've been talking to her about nutrition forever.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I got her a book called Eat This, Not That.
I remember that.
It's such a simple book. It's such a simple thing. It has things that you could eat at McDonald's. It's very reasonable. You want to get a sandwich, it tells you to get like turkey instead of roast beef, and don't get mayo, get mustard, small things that you can do to alter your calories and to be heading in the right direction. But she doesn't go to like volleyball games and stuff and eat stuff that everyone else is eating. We make her food. Like, that's just the way it is. That's what she wants. That's what she gets. We try to do our best to follow through with some of her goals, and it's a healthier outcome. Like, all that's there is like muffins and shit. She doesn't want to eat it. She knows
volleyball games.
Yeah, she knows it's just going to like make her tired, not feel great. They might have some fruit out or something like that, so she'll eat some of that. And since she's been doing that, we've noticed other kids are like bringing their meals too. They're like, what do you have? And then they're like, oh, maybe I should bring something that's a little healthier option.
their protein intake? Well, the data is hard to come by. One study using a 2015 survey found that nearly a third of teenage boys reported trying to gain weight, with this affecting certain groups more than others. But some of the numbers that stood out the most to me is that only around 3% of those involved were actually underweight in terms of BMI, but almost 20% perceived themselves to be. And the thing is, as we grow into men, this isn't a thing that we grow out of. With a 2014 poll finding that men worry more about their appearance than their health, family, relationships, or professional success. Right, today's men are actually more concerned about their chest than women are about their boobs. And well, obviously, a focus
right there, that's what you see here in like the fitness industry. Like when you see young guy fitness influencers who are just wanting to get jacked and yoked and they want to do it fast, what has been one of the most popular things in the past few years for young guys to start doing? 19, 20, 21-year-olds are fucking doing TRT, are starting to take steroids. Right. And it's like, if your goal is to be an NPC level bodybuilder and you want to be a fucking, like a Chris Bumstead type, okay, that is a route that those guys do go down and they're open about it. But if your goal is just to try to gain some more muscle so you can be jacked and be a bit more muscular, that is not good for your actual hormonal health. You know what
Probably
I mean?
not a great place to start.
It's not a good place to start. Like, but that's the thing. Like that falls right into his point. That's super popular right now, and it shouldn't be. You know,
he's talking about men being like more obsessed with their health. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe in fitness, maybe there's people that are more obsessed than they used to be, and maybe there's a something going on there. But just in America in general, like men being obsessed with their health, I don't know. Go to Walmart. Tell me different.
No, that's the thing. Like overall, it's like there is a side of it. Like when you do get obsessed with looking a bit better, it's not the best thing to be obsessed with it. But by looking a bit better, you'll probably end up being a bit healthier, right? Most people that probably look healthy are healthy. Some are not,
right?
But
there is too far.
Yeah, they may take it too far. They may get way too lean. They might use too many fucking drugs. But
I mean, a young guy that's listening to this right now, like if they need to lose 60 pounds,
they need to lose 60 pounds.
They need to lose 60 pounds, but they don't need to lose 100 pounds. Like once you lost 60, you don't need to be like, oh man, I'm still not shredded. I need to. I think the word need is a really interesting word, and you have to try to figure out your goals, and it's hard to figure all these things out as a young person, and somebody could very easily take that too far. But I think the idea of losing weight, the idea of like what he said in the beginning, I think is interesting, because he said in the beginning, he talked about like being skinny is okay. Now he's talking about how gaining muscle might not be okay. But I think all of it can be okay. It's just you need to have a different perspective on it. And I think if you go back to like the bodybuilding, there's something called 70s big, right? And you look at, I realize that those guys look insane too. They look completely insane. And they're on steroids, like Bill Kazmaier and Mike Menser. And you find those pictures of some of those guys from back in the day, but they look different. They look powerful rather than just like, and Mike Menser was shredded because he's a bodybuilder, but it's not the same dialed in shredded that you're seeing even just from these influencers. Like they're like, just, I don't know, 5% body fat sometimes. Those guys are shredded.
Hey, Serge Nubret. What's up? Yeah.
But a lot
this will lead a guy to body dysmorphia. This leads me to body dysmorphia. I don't feel comfortable in my body right now.
Let's just cancel this podcast.
Yeah,
and just go to the gym right now.
We gotta make some changes.
Fucking around, guys.
Yeah. What do you guys think about what he said that most men care more about? I'm not sure how he worded it, but basically it seems
their
like
pecs.
More about their physique than like how successful they are. That shit seems pretty crazy.
It's a weird one because
I think get your physique first. That's what I think.
I think one leads to the other.
I think it can.
There's focusing too much on the way you look, but if you want to be healthy and look healthy, you don't need to be massive and shredded, but being in shape does kind of change the way you sometimes carry yourself.
Being improved, being better version, right?
Yeah, being a better version. And it's not even the aspect of the goal or the body goal. It's the practices, it's the performance, it's the going to the gym, it's the doing the jujitsu, it's taking the runs. These things, these physical feats help you feel more confident because you know that you're doing things that are helping your health, you're doing things that are helping your body. And it's every single day, it's moving you a little bit closer to being in better and better health, right? And then at a certain point, you'll get to this place where your body is just where it is and it's good and you're healthy and you look good, but you're still doing the practices, you're performing. And that's the thing. It's like the performance is the thing that should be focused on rather than always how the body looks. So like we talked about it on the podcast side of things, but instead of being focused on bodybuilding, being focused on the practice of going to the gym and improving or doing something that can allow you to be focused on your performance.
Yeah, getting better. Like, can you get better? Can you get a little stronger? Can you do some of these things, but in a reasonable way? Because, like, are you also in school at the same time? Like, if you're, there's less kids and stuff like that going to college. So I think we need to find our discipline somewhere else, and the gym can be a great place. But if you're a guy who's trying to gain muscle and trying to get lean, and it's not like your job, then it becomes pretty difficult. So what you're seeing referenced in this video and in a lot of other videos when we're talking about dysmorphia, it's usually an influencer talking about their own dysmorphia. I'm sure that there's other cases of dysmorphia of young kids that are just not happy with where they are, and they probably feel kind of sad and upset about not being further along or not being leaner or not being skinnier, in some cases not having more muscle mass. But most of the time you're seeing it in fitness from the influencers themselves. And I think the issue is that their interpretation of them getting particularly lean was going to result in something that maybe was an irrational thought in the first place. Like, it's not really gonna, maybe they thought people would care more, but no one really does care that much, especially if you go from 7% to 4%. I mean, what's someone going to do? Like, run up to you and give you a big kiss? Or are they just going to be like, wow, dude, you got shredded, and that's kind of it? Like, you don't get much more from that. So it's interesting. I don't know what a lot of these guys think would happen more. We've had, guests on the show before, and we've been disappointed before. And it's not people that are in this video, but we've had guests on the show before, and we're like, and we've even talked about guests on the show. Like, should we have them on the show? And we're like, it's only fitness, man. Right? And we're like, pass.
Yeah, he's just another fitnessy guy.
Yeah, it's like man, and that could be, the person could be different than what we're seeing on social media, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's why we do the interviews, because it's fun.
Right. It's fun to like uncover a lot of stuff. But someone like Pete Rubish, who's like got his information, out there, like he just says it, right? It's like you'd rather kind of interview people more like that. But he had a form of dysmorphia too. Like, he was never strong enough. He got up to 240, but that's not that big. Not that big for what? 240 is huge. It's not that big in powerlifting, because powerlifters are freaking massive.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we've talked about blood work and getting your labs done on this podcast with many different guests, as that's super important for understanding what's going on underneath the hood. That's why we've been partnered with Merrick Health for such a long time now, owned by Derek for more plates, more dates. With Merrick Health, you can get yourself the Power Project panel, or you can select any specific labs you want to get. And after you get that done, you'll be able to work with one of Merrick's patient care coordinators, where they'll help you understand what type of nutritional, lifestyle, hormonal, or other type of interventions you can utilize to help fix whatever might be going on underneath the hood. Merrick is your one-stop shop to make sure that everything is going well underneath the hood. Andrew, how can they get their blood work done?
Yes, we have two options for you guys. Head over to merrickhealth.com/powerproject. That's MAREK health.com/powerproject. There you guys will see the Power Project panel that Nsima was just talking about. And at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save $101 off of that panel. Now, if you want to custom select your own panel, you guys can use promo code PowerProject10 to save 10% off all labs. Again, that's at merrickhealth.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Let me ask you something, Mark, real quick. You said the dysmorphia thing. You said that we're mainly seeing it in influencers and we're not seeing it in people. What did you mean by that?
I just said, like, most of these videos, they're pointing out other influencers, right? They're usually pointing out somebody that has kind of a lot of followers that is sharing the fact that, like, oh, I wish, my build's not that great. I wish I was a little leaner. I wish I was a little in a little bit better shape. I wish I was 2 pounds lighter for that bodybuilding show. Or, whatever it is. And I think that people definitely can suffer from dysmorphia without the large social media following, but the social media following, I think, pours into a lot of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Something I think Greg Du said actually made a video about Stephanie Buttermore, and it is something that you do see from influencers. As much as I hate the term influencer, the thing is that person, if they're a guy that's shredded and then talking about how his six pack or whatever, like, you know, oh damn, I wish I was leaner right now. That sadly, unfortunately, does have an effect on the people that really maybe pay attention to that person's content and feel, because there's an odd thing where someone who's just watching this guy that's on their feed may be inspired by that guy and maybe like, yeah, that there's this guy we know, Chris Elkins in Sacramento. Oh yeah, he's shredded, he's whatever. I wanna train like him. And then if someone like him says when he's like 10% body fat, damn, I wish I was leaner right now. I'm not really feeling the best about this body fat. And, you know, you've been lifting for a few years, you know we're close to that, and he's saying that, then what does that make you think about yourself? The Stephanie Buttermore thing was interesting because this is a tough one. Like Stephanie Buttermore's Jeff Nippert's girlfriend, she did the all-in mentality thing a few years ago where she gained like 40-something pounds, and now she's all about intuitive eating, blah, 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 love your body, body positivity. But she recently got breast implants and lip filler. And her followers are coming after her because they're like, you were the body positivity person. You were the person who said, love yourself in your own skin. And then you just got breast implants and lip filler. And anybody can do whatever the fuck they want with their body. But when you're a person who this is like the thing you put out and then you kind of do something that's maybe opposite to the whole idea of loving yourself for who you are, it will make people, and this is why people shouldn't put too much stock into anybody, but they do. And when they do, like, it'll have an effect, like the statistics here, like especially young kids, especially the young ones that they do look up to those types of people. I remember when I was young, who are some of the people that you guys looked up to when you were young? Teenagers. Do you remember anybody who you're like, that guy?
Mainly just my brothers, but I guess like outside of the house, some pro wrestling guys like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and stuff. But I never really thought about like looking like them. I thought like it would be cool to be heroic like them, you know, to be strong like them would be kind of cool.
And you did go into wrestling.
Yeah.
Like that was actually part of your career path.
Like Hulk Hogan picking up Sylvester Stallone in Rocky III and throwing him out of the ring. I was like, whatever that is, that's fucking awesome. Like that looks cool. Like I wish I could pick somebody up like that and chuck them.
Yeah,
that would be fun. Someone talks shit, you pick them up, throw them.
Yeah, no, I watch sports nonstop, and so like, and you know, big Kings fan. So my favorite player growing up was Mitch Richmond. And so when I started playing basketball, I would, you know, lay up line, and he always ran to the half court line at least, no matter what. While everyone else just kind of dogged it and got to the back of the line, they kept going. He always hit half court. Yeah. So when I started playing, that's what I did. Like, because I wanted to emulate him and be, you know, dope like him. Yeah. But like, other than like sports figures, I can't really think of anybody. Yeah, like, I don't know.
I loved Bo Jackson. I was part of the like Bo Jackson fan club. Through, like my box of Cheerios or some shit, and I got like a T-shirt or something like that. I loved Bo Jackson.
That's
I had
cool.
I got his cards here, and but like Tyson, I watched every Tyson fight as a kid.
Jerry Rice,
Michael Jordan was fucking unbelievable to watch. Yeah, I really admired all those people, but it was more like I admired. I think somehow maybe because of my my family members and stuff told me like this, especially because there's a lot of coaches in my family. My uncle, I have one uncle's a basketball coach. I have an aunt that's a basketball coach, and I have another uncle who's a football coach, and my cousin Steven was a football coach. So like, there's a lot of coaches in the family, and I remember they would be like, you know how much work it takes to be like one of these guys? And my uncle Jimmy is like real competitive, and he plays a lot of different sports and stuff, and he always tells a story, like he rubs elbows with like a pro guy, you know, and he would talk about someone's golf swing or someone's tennis swing or these different things. And it just always kind of put it to me like, this is a different level. And I always thought that was cool and interesting. I'm like, wow, that's really neat. Like if you just fucking dive all in on it, who knows what you could turn yourself into.
Yeah, like fucking this guy right here, Goku. I don't know if you can be seen on the camera, but I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z. I was an anime nerd as a kid. And when I saw that shit.
How much does he weigh?
Goku is actually very light. I think he's 160 pounds
Oh.
at 5'2" or 5'3". But in the show, he looks fucking 6'4".
So the
it
Hulk's
didn't
like
matter.
3 tons, right?
The Hulk is disgusting. He's ridiculous. But like, you know, I mean, I was a big Kobe Bryant fan. As far as fitness, the first guy I really got into was Greg Plitt. You know what I mean, with his intensity. But like the thing is there was no Instagram. I wasn't scrolling through his page and shit. I just see random YouTube videos here and there, and that would be motivating. But it's different now because now like young guys feel close to these multiple people that they follow, and these people are making videos every day and talking to them. It's a different level of closeness, and it's a different level of influence, which means that it's permeating some guys' minds deeper than it did ours. You know, I feel like for our people that we looked up to, they were far away in our minds. But for some people,
couldn't have any contact with them. Now you could DM somebody, they might answer you.
absolutely, you can comment on their YouTube video and they might just comment back. You know, and when that person says, "I don't look good," and they really do, that's why you're following them. But then they're like, "God, I don't feel comfortable in my body." It might actually be how they feel, but that does really have an effect, and it's different.
And it affects the influencer because, you know, in one of those videos, one of the guys was saying like, oh, my body fat percentage or whatever it may be went from like 7 to 10 and my engagement went down. You know, my likes went down. It's like everything slowed down. So I felt like I needed to hurry up and get back to, you know, that low body fat percentage. So, you know, yes, the followers are putting a lot of stock in them, but they are also putting a lot of stock in how many likes they get, thus creating the like never ending, you know, shred.
What a wonderful parasitic relationship. Right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Got to find a way to, you know, for some of the influencers, they got to find a way to reinvent themselves and redefine themselves. I think they're too defined by being this percentage of leanness. I think someone like Greg Plitt, I had a opportunity to meet him and talk with him a couple times.
Sick. That's
I think he was, you know, I think he was like afflicted, you know, he just was like, he was so determined, you know, to an unhealthy degree.
pull him up.
However,
Let's see.
he wasn't only showing his body. He was teaching you a lot about like motivational stuff. You go back and watch some of the stuff that he talks about. It's pretty deep shit. You know, it's pretty deep stuff that you can get a lot out of. And I think that it would be wise for a lot of guys to listen to people other than just influencers, because you can get a lot of philosophical things. Look how shredded this guy is. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of great philosophy from people and learn that you don't really need to. It's great to improve. Like improvement is king. Like improvement is essential.
Yes.
It's very, very important that you figure out ways to improve yourself. It's the only way you're ever going to really become anything. It's the only way you're going to really feel great about yourself is have some forms of improvement. But that doesn't mean that I have to improve so much that I'm, you know, Olympia stage bodybuilder and that I'm first place and all that kind of stuff. That just means that I can keep myself in the game and means that I can keep myself being pretty strong. And you're going to have to find different goals. Like if you can't, you know, if you can't run a 2-hour marathon, then you're going to have to figure out, maybe I can run a 2-hour half marathon. You know, you're going to have to like kind of pick. You got to, you know, The Rock used to say, know your role and shut your mouth. That's what he used to kind of say, right?
Yeah.
You have to kind of know your role. Like what ingredients do you have? How far can you make it? I don't want you to have a limiting belief on yourself, but there's going to be certain things that are going to have certain limitations on them. And even without that, just put yourself into the mix, work on it, start to do the disciplines. And have fun with those fucking disciplines, because that's the most fun you're ever going to have. Like if you think back to when you first started lifting, that was amazing. That was so much fucking fun. And you didn't even really know what you were doing.
Yeah.
You're like, the guy said to do like 1-arm rows and just go as heavy as you can. You're like, all right, you do the 60s. Then you do the 100s. You're like, holy fuck, this is, and you're cheating, you know, and you're fucking doing whatever. But you're like, this is sick. And then you learn, someone else says, hey, you know, you got to do it with like better form.
That form's horrible.
Yeah. And then you learn that too. And that's a skill set. But acquiring skill sets are going to be the things that actually make you feel good, not necessarily the end result.
focus on your health can be a very, very positive thing in your life, this fixation on muscle can be destructive both physically and mentally, leading men to obsessively scrutinize over their bodies, inspect themselves in the mirror, or on the flip side, just hide their bodies under baggy clothes. That's in addition to the health risks that come from working out too much or inhaling dietary supplements. Right? Excessive exercise and a skewed nutrient intake can be as dangerous as the drastic weight loss from eating disorders like anorexia. And ironically, if it gets to the point where the body's in starvation mode, hormone production can slow down, including testosterone, the one that is critical for building muscle. And that's especially true for younger boys who haven't developed the right hormonal environment for strength training yet, with one Harvard professor explaining there isn't a lot of potential to gain muscle mass for the average 10 to 14-year-old boy who lifts weights and drinks protein shakes.
That's why performance is a big deal. You know, like athletes, guys who usually like play sports are focused on how much better they get on the court, how much, you know, better they get on the field. Andrew, like on the YouTube side of things, like, you know, you guys may not have heard this, but Andrew, you mentioned that by focusing on BJJ, you know.
Oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure you're going with that. So yeah, by taking my focus away from like I just got to look as good as possible to wait, I have to perform as good as possible on the mats. By doing that, I accidentally now walk around in like the best physique that I've ever had without like what I mean without trying is like I'm not doing cardio, I'm not trying to cut my calories, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just
You're not in the gym like fucking flexing in front of the mirror after you do a set of curls to see how your veins are looking.
Yeah, no, I'm just like literally living my life trying to be as good as possible on the mats, and a byproduct of that is I'm looking better than I ever have my entire life.
Well, even thinking about like weights in general, you know, why do a lot of people start lifting weights? A lot of people start lifting weights because they want to like be more significant. They want to be stronger.
Yeah.
And why do you want to be stronger? Like break that down. Maybe you want to be stronger because you want to be able to defend yourself. Maybe you think that if you build yourself up big enough that people won't mess with you. But what if you just did something different? What if instead of that, you went to jiu-jitsu in the first place or went to wrestling in the first place? You want to feel more competent or more confident in those spaces. Now you're going to walk around and probably just look a little bit bigger because you're probably going to carry yourself a little differently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like where else can you gain confidence? I mean, you can gain confidence in the gym, of course, but you're going to have to lift for a little while and you're going to have to get past 185 and 225 and you get yourself into 315 for some reps and stuff like that before you really start to, you know, you do have to kind of compare yourself to people to some extent. Like that has to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to get like a little bit of that going, but even a couple months of jiu-jitsu, if you can defend yourself way better than you used to and you choked a couple people out, probably feel pretty damn confident. So a lot of these young kids that are obsessing over their diet and being skinny or having big lats or biceps, I mean, maybe a good option for some of them, like if someone's dealing with this with their own child or if a kid out there is dealing with this, like maybe try something different. Try something that is more, obviously lifting is performance-based, but try something different where you get to actually test your performance. Because like if I think I'm strong, I could just go roll with someone in jiu-jitsu and I'll be proven wrong, right?
Yeah.
Be like, well, that bench that you got, I didn't really see any signs of it in that, you know?
Absolutely. What's his name? Fuck. There's this JPG coaching. You know, recently I saw him having a video where he's doing a little bit of Muay Thai now. And he's new at it and he's sparring, but he's really enjoying it. I think that's a really good thing to see, like someone that has that kind of following. A lot of young guys follow him. It's not just now he's just always in the gym lifting. He's doing something where, okay, it's not what my body looks like, it's what it can do. Because over time, as we get older, we're going to lose a little bit of muscle here and there. We might not be as shredded as whatever, but the performance stuff is going to stick with us. I mean, even we might get a little bit slower with certain things, but at the end of the day, it's still our body. It's still focused on what we can do, because you're not going to gain muscle forever, but you can gain new abilities for a long ass time. Even something as simple as being able to sit on your knees without feeling pain. That's fucking amazing when you actually are able to get to be like you do that. And you're like, wow, this body is amazing.
Right now, I know you're looking in the mirror. You're getting ready for your nephew's quinceañera. You have a long sleeve on that looks horrible and your pants don't fit right. That's why we partnered. I don't know why you're laughing. That's why we partnered with Viore Clothing. You see, this is the Boulevard shirt jacket. Fits great, stretchy, feels amazing. It's the best long sleeve in my closet. And one of the biggest things that we love about Viore is that they have clothes that you can wear to parties. They have clothes that you can wear in the gym. Like I said, your nephew's quinceañera. You can look great wherever you go if you step your fashion game up. Plus, this stuff feels like baby skin on your skin, which is kind of creepy, but at the same time, it's kind of nice and you know it. Andrew, where can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to vuori.com/power project. That's VUORI.com/power project to automatically receive 20% off your order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Fucking hell.
Getting yourself out of pain feels awesome.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
See if you can find a clip of George Foreman versus Michael Moore. Moorer. Michael Moore.
More.
Go on
More.
YouTubes.
Social media.
Oh, that's you.
George Foreman was out of boxing. It's the most amazing sports story in the history of the world.
Mm-hmm.
He was out of boxing for like 25 years. And he came back and he didn't have any money, so he was trying to fight. And
Pause. He was out of boxing for 25 years?
25 years. He lost to Ali, Rumble in the Jungle, before I was
realize
before I was born.
Holy
Before I
hell.
was born, I believe. 72 or something like that, 1972. He fights Michael Moore for the championship after fighting Evander Holyfield to like the ultimate battle. We should watch a little piece of that too. Look how heavy-handed Foreman is. It's sick.
Oh,
His punches are nasty. And
oh,
he's
wait,
got,
that's why, because it's on double speed. I'm like, wait a second.
well, Foreman also has he has hardly any speed or quickness. He's just got to use his wits. But, you know, look at the physiques here.
Yeah.
You know, Foreman's carrying a lot more weight. Now, Foreman looks great. He's got big arms and big shoulders. I'm not saying that he's fat and disgusting by any means, but a lot of people for an athlete would say like, oh, that's kind of a fat athlete. But this is a guy that, forget about being fat. Can he perform or not? He just knocked that dude out.
Rewind that a little bit, Andrew.
I'm gonna.
Dude, you see how like light looking that shot looked? But do you know how hard that must have been? That one hurt too.
Yeah, I thought that was
Whack,
the
whack.
one. Dang.
See if you can pull up him in Holyfield. It's such a war. It's so cool. And Evander Holyfield was so shredded. And you look at Emmett Smith back in the day. Like Emmett Smith wasn't shredded. Barry Sanders wasn't shredded. A lot of these guys are absolutely incredible athletes without being shredded. Look at Bones Jones in the last fight. People are like, he looked fat. It's like we just have a standard nowadays. Look at these two. This is so great. Watch Holyfield peeled. Holyfield looked like a bodybuilder. And Foreman's got the pants hiked up. he got the pants way up over the belly button.
High waisted.
George Foreman was, by the way, 44 in that fight versus Michael Moore.
And he's 43 right here, or 42.
Whoa, dude.
What in the world, dude? And look at Holyfield bouncing around, and
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. I don't mean to sidetrack things too
It's okay.
much, but it's not about the physique. It's about, your performance as well. You think Foreman was sad because he had some body fat on him? Or you think he was just selling some Foreman grillers?
You know, man, the physique is kind of an illusion, dude. When I started jiu-jitsu, I was 270 pounds. And I was still fairly... Jesus.
Whoa.
Did Foreman win this fight, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Still,
but I
he's
was
giving it to
screaming
him.
the whole time. I remember watching it when I was a kid. I was freaking out. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
What's
especially-
cool is they both have the same style. They both did that thing with their glove.
Like
Like
clamshell. whatever it's
Mayweather,
called.
yeah, Mayweather did it like nobody's business. Look at those punches he can take. He got hit by Ali. He's like, whatever, dude.
Oh,
Damn.
dude, you know what? Hold on. I gotta. This is too good. It might fuck us
We got to
up.
watch the whole fight later. All right,
I want to hear the crowd.
he's getting drilled.
Look at that. Oh my God.
Holyfield used to train with Lee Haney. How sus is that?
Jesus.
How sus is that?
Oh yeah. Well, he was on that.
Woo! He
Was on that. Was it Balco? The Balco list?
Oh, was he?
As Evan Fields.
Oh, that's great.
Evan Fields lived at his address.
Look at Holyfield. He's not tired at all. He's just
Yeah.
like still
Bouncing
going.
around. Hey, YouTube, don't demonetize this for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just edit
All
some
right,
of
all
it. But this is what I was going to mention.
No one knocks each other down, so we're all
Like,
good.
having a good physique is cool. But it's kind of an illusion because it's like guys are like flexing and whatever, they're big. But when I went to jiu-jitsu at 270, I was getting my ass beat by guys that were 160 that didn't look
I'm sure
great.
like day one, a lot of guys were rubbing their hands together like this is going to be the best.
They love destroying me because they're like, look at this guy. Look, he thinks he's something.
They
And they
probably
kick
went
my
home and
ass.
showed their wife like a picture. Like, look at this. I beat this guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Do you know how cool that was though?
Yeah.
Like it kind of just beat it into me that like doesn't like
It's a skill.
It's a skill. It's a true skill, and not that
gaining muscle isn't something that's good. It's a good thing to have muscle on your frame. We talk about the longevity aspects. You want that muscle on your frame to help you like have a better life so you don't fall at 60 and fucking, you know. But at the same time, it's like if that's your only focus, it's all for show. It is all for show.
I think there's like almost like a strength dysmorphia out there too. You know, people really want to, you know, they hit that 400-pound deadlift and that was a big goal for them. I want to do double body weight deadlift. They weigh 200, they pull 400. Once they pull 400, now they want to do 405 because that's 4 plates. And there's always the next weights. And again, you have to feel value in your improvement.
Yes.
And I know you hear people always talking about the journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's the journey. The training for the Boston Marathon was way more fun than the actual Boston Marathon itself. Boston Marathon was great, but like all the training for it, all the lead up to it, getting like hospitalized and like all that shit, it's just, you end up with an awesome story every time you compete. Every time you put your ass on the line, something happens every time where there's some sort of doubt in your mind about something every single time you go to compete. Yeah. And you have to show yourself that you know how to do this. I remember multiple times going into powerlifting meets where I'd like blow something out, like blow out something in my tricep or blow out something in my calf or my hamstring. And I'm like, all right, well, now you get to see what kind of powerlifter you really are, because if you're actually a good powerlifter, you'll still be able to put together a better total than you have in the past. It's just going to be piecemealed together differently. Okay, you can't bench the same way. Okay, so now you got to squat more weight. And then you're not great at deadlift, but you better be great at deadlift in this one if you want to piece together a better total than normal.
You want to keep going?
Let's go.
Let's go.
I muted it.
Oh.
That's precisely the age when they're feeling intense social pressure from peers and, in today's age, starting to access social media. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, research shows that more screen time correlates with more muscle dysmorphia. And other data linking Instagram use by teen boys to disordered eating behavior, muscle dissatisfaction, and even use of steroids. But also, understand, male beauty standards have been hammered into kids long before they got their first iPad, right? It's in everything we consume. I mean, there was a 2006 study showing that fucking action figures became more muscular over the prior 25 years. With more recent research showing that boys prefer those hyper-masculinized toys over the older, skinnier ones.
We
And I mean, just
pause
think about the American culture that we grew up
You hear women, especially when it comes to celebrities, especially this celebrity right here. My wife's got her own story with this one. But
Henry Cavill?
You hear women, gasp and talk about some of these celebrities and stuff, but more in general, I don't think women care that much. Like they'll make a big deal about this. I think girls, when they get together and stuff, they'll be like, "Oh my God, that guy is so hot. He's got a great build," or whatever, right? But I don't know how much they care. Do they care a ton about like guys being shredded and having big pecs and stuff?
No, man. When you watch a lot of these videos, like there are a few fitness or there's YouTubers that go around and actually, I think Will Tennyson does this. He shows them a picture of like a really shredded person and then like just a guy that looks good. And she's like, oh, that guy looks like he's just way too into himself. He goes too far. He's, I like this guy. You don't need to be shredded and fucking huge to get women.
Like the guy who's doing the video. He's a nice looking guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's, juicing. He doesn't look like he's in the gym hammering shrugs all day.
He actually has an amazing like transformation himself, Philip. He used to be much bigger and he's been working at it for years and years. And now he's really healthy and really good shape. It's something he's been working on. But you don't need to be huge and shredded to women don't care about that much.
Okay, so I walked into my house one day.
Yeah.
And I usually try to make some noise when I come home because I'm always like trying to just make sure I don't scare the shit out of somebody that's in the house or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, honey, I'm home. Or so I say something and I don't hear anything back. And I walk into our kitchen. And our kitchen at the time was like wide open. Mm-hmm. And all that was in front of the kitchen was a big TV screen. And then next to the TV screen, there was a couch. And behind the couch is where the kitchen is. So that's where I walked in. Mm-hmm. So I'm walking in and I try to say stuff. I try to make a commotion and there's nothing. But there's this scene from Superman on the television.
The shirtless scene?
The shirtless scene.
Please the rain.
When Henry Cavill comes... His titties bouncing, and he gets the thing off the clothespin, and he rings it. He puts like a dry shirt on or whatever, because he just got out of the ocean, and then it gets better. 15-second rewind. And I'm like, oh, my wife's sitting. I couldn't really see her, like head's right
So
there.
she still doesn't know you're in the room.
So I watch it. She hits the 15-second button again. Boom. And I'm like, hey, I go, what's going on today? And she goes, oh my God. She goes, how long were you standing there for? Here we go. Hey, he looks amazing.
Yo, he's so jacked here. It's crazy. He's like fucking crazy.
Hey, if I was home by myself, I would have watched this 4 or 5 times myself.
That's so funny that Andy was rewatching this shit.
And then she, it's great. Like she had no excuse. She got up off the couch and she's like, hey, I got nothing. I'm like, you don't need to have anything. I don't care. It's fine.
That's incredible.
I see why you started growing your hair out.
And you see why I've been working on my pecs every goddamn day since that day. Jesus H. Christ on a cross.
Oh, man.
Mark just has this posted up like in his home gym, just trying like
Sideburns
be
too.
He's got like darts. I'm wearing contacts and shit. I'm trying to have a British accent or whatever the fuck he's from. Fuck you, Henry Cavill. Meanwhile, Henry Cavill's using my products. Yeah, he's using the slingshot and hip circle and stuff.
Oh,
Get
man.
the fuck out of here.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
all right, let's keep moving.
He's a handsome guy. What are you gonna do?
My heroes
Fucking
growing up,
Superman.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, are the most fucking yoked out people in the world. And that hasn't changed. I mean, you have the Chris's, right? Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt. I mean, that dude went from I'll have a large number 6 to SEAL Team 6. And I mean, you can even see it in the different
Nice.
actors playing some of the same revised roles. Look at James Bond over the years. Sean Connery to Daniel Craig. And with America being
Sean
such a
Connery
giving
looked good,
country,
though,
we
too.
also export
Yeah, he did. He was
this
in shape.
toxicity. Studies showing that even in populations exposed to Western media relatively recently, TV consumption is linked to more muscular body ideals for men and slimmer ones for women. And that's along with dieting behaviors and disordered eating among women. But also, you can't put 100% of the blame on media because the supplements industry is the prime beneficiary here. Right? They've been aggressively marketing protein shakes, bars, pills, and powders towards men for decades. And it's worked because now the global protein supplements market is valued at over $20 billion, with North America grabbing the largest share. And reportedly, more than half of males from adolescence to early adulthood take protein powder or shakes. And this is Americans already consume nearly twice the recommended daily intake of protein. And that matters because excessive protein consumption can strain kidney and liver function, as well as increase the risk of heart disease and cancer. Not to mention
I don't know where he got some of that information because my understanding is that the standard American diet is like 12% protein, which is very low.
No, but like that's the thing when they recite this stuff and they talk about protein, it's like fast food. You know what I mean? Where people are getting burgers and again, along with a lot of fries, etc. Then they mention, oh yeah, they eat a lot of protein, and they do eat a lot of protein, but it's with a lot of other calories included. You know, it's not people that are eating
Protein leveraging.
it's
Eating leaner sources of protein to drive their hunger down. Yeah.
that, or even just fucking eating a steak. It's not like that. It's not even quality protein. So it's not that protein is bad, because I've seen this mentioned by people a few times. It's the quality of the protein people are eating, accompanied with all the processed foods that they're eating. Most Americans that are out of shape and potentially overweight are not eating. We've talked about this at length. They're not eating enough actual protein.
No.
You know?
They're overeating on other things and usually not getting enough activity.
Yeah. So that's just tough.
Yeah, but man, recently I just started drinking a lot more Steak Shake, the chocolate one. It's so good. It just has me thinking like everybody needs a protein shake a day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could use one just for the convenience of it.
But this is one thing to think about too. Like when he's talking about the dangers of those protein shakes, man, like when a lot of people do want to improve and increase their protein intake, but quality of that protein shake you're having is too. When you go to Walmart and get the $20 protein shake, you got to imagine there's probably some iffy shit going on. And it's not always the price of a protein shake, but it is trying to get it from a reputable brand. You know what I mean? So it is something that you do want to pay attention to or be careful with.
Plus, they taste good.
Yeah.
They're incredible. All right, here we go.
mention the specific risks with protein supplements, which go largely unregulated by the FDA. And whatever's on the label can say fuck all about what's actually in the bottle. Plus, many powders are packed with added sugars,
not
and
necessarily
researchers have
true.
also found unsafe amounts of heavy metals.
What's up?
It's not really true. You can't say whatever you want in the bottle. There's actually a lot of regulation. You could start out saying whatever you want, but you're going to probably get caught by somebody. You know, so you could kind of start out making whatever claims you want, but they're all illegal.
Yeah.
So, and you're not going to, if you start, like I've mentioned on a previous podcast, you start selling pretty well, someone else is just going to rat you out there and be like, oh, their label is, you know, illegal.
Mm-hmm.
metals like lead, arsenic, cadmium, and mercury. But yeah, all of that is to say that everyone is the victim of just the insanity that's going on right now, both men and women. While research suggests that women are still judged far more for their appearance than men, the fact that it's not happening with the same numbers or the same rate doesn't change the fact that it is affecting both. And stuff like this needs to be talked about so that it's understood and normalized rather than kind of mocked, or sometimes even worse, just dismissed. With all of that, I want to leave you with two things. One, what are your thoughts regarding this news and also your personal
Changed his
experiences?
shirt.
Would be so amazing
Oh, he
to
did?
know in
He
those
did.
comments down below. And two, make sure you're subscribed and
It
come
was a
back to the
dark
channel.
shirt.
Yeah, you went
It was
from
a
like
dark shirt.
dark green to gray. That was quick.
It was a
He has a lot of really great points.
yeah.
I know we're like nitpicking everything he said, but
Mhm.
the overall message is great. There are a lot of people that are probably suffering that are just going way too far on their fitness.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is kind of like the age of comparison,
Mm.
because it's not like people never used to compare themselves to other people before social media.
That's why I wish we'd just walk around naked, get it all over with.
Yeah, man.
Man, are you hanging or not really?
But I'm a
not a big
grower.
deal.
I'm a grower.
It's not a big deal.
Don't make me have to be
not a
hard
big
everywhere
deal.
I go.
It's not a big deal.
Oh, that's
It isn't a
difficult.
big deal.
But it is a big deal.
It's not a small deal.
We all know that Andrew's
Don't do
the
this.
only person here who's walking around with a big deal. Truly big deal
I
is
just
you, dog.
I keep going back to like
That's why your lower back always be giving you issues.
We're gonna be like on a
'Cause your dick's pulling
podcast
you
trip
down.
one day, and I'm gonna walk out and be like, "Oh fuck, I thought you guys were gone," and then you're both gonna be like, "Oh."
The Naked Podcast?
Shut the fuck up. No.
We could do it pantsless because
You
we're
just
behind the
pop it.
desk, you know?
Well, actually, in Nsima,
What?
yeah, we could do it pantsless.
We could be in our undies back here at least.
No, but real talk. When it does come to like a lot of this shit, it is. I do feel for younger kids. I do, because as much as there is more information to give to speed you up on your fitness journey so that you can like understand the way to train and how to handle your nutrition, as much as there's good information, there's just so many more ways to see you're inadequate. Not just in fitness and everything. Like when you see somebody rolling in a crazy car, or they're fucking 20 years old and a millionaire with a beautiful girl in a house, it's like, it's hard not to compare yourself. But part of it is like, okay, maybe you get off social media a bit. You're not on it as much.
Follow those motherfuckers.
But there is, I mean, let's be real. There's a benefit in following people. I learn a lot from a lot of the people I follow. I'm intentional with that. And like, it helps. A lot of that has helped me speed up learning of certain things. So there's a benefit, but you just got to be careful. Like you got to guard where you are mentally with that shit.
And if you are following something or someone that is not making you feel great, then maybe you should not follow them anymore. I know that's probably not an easy thing to do, but you know, you just put that thing down, you just let it go and say like, I'm not going to follow all these influencers anymore. It's like driving me too crazy. It's making me lean into it too hard. But, you know, I think the main thing that's at play here is just the safety. You know, people are just going to do really unsafe things. They're going to do 1,000-calorie diet. They're going to get their hands on whatever fat-burning supplements, peptides, PEDs. There's a lot of things that are really dangerous that speed up your, they speed up your heart. If you're, taking some of these like medications that normally are going to be prescribed by like a doctor, and these things are going to be like more thoroughly examined as you go along the process, but you're doing that and you're not eating enough and you're like running on the treadmill and you're lifting. It could be a lot. Or you follow someone like me, or you follow someone like Nick Bear, or follow someone like Nsima, and you're like, Nsima's lifting, and then he's doing jujitsu. Andrew's lifting, doing jujitsu. Mark is running, and then lifting and podcasting, and like, I want to do what they're doing. And maybe you need more time to be able to get to particular levels. Like we've been lifting for a long time. Lifting's been a staple for us. So for us to add something to the menu after we've already been lifting for many years wasn't anything that miraculous or difficult. So you're going to have to give yourself some time to get used to all these things.
You know, when you mentioned, if somebody's not making you feel good, you shouldn't follow them. It's true, but also ask yourself, why is this not making me feel good? There could be a point where like this guy is saying he doesn't look good and he looks amazing, and I think that's ridiculous. Yeah, fucking unfollow that dude. He's got a weird look on himself. But, if someone doesn't make you feel good because of their success, for example, Alex Hormozy, right? I see his content sometimes, and I'm like, fucking hell, what am I doing with my life? But the thing is, there's that thought, and I did like sometimes I'm like, damn, he's so successful. But Why? Why is he successful? Rather than being like, he makes me feel inadequate about my wealth. It's like, what are his habits? What is he doing? The thing is there's so much good information out there, and not all of it might make you feel good, but maybe sometimes there's a reason you're not feeling good. Maybe you're not feeling good for good reason. And this is going to be kind of rough, but maybe you haven't been taking care of yourself. Maybe you don't have the best habits. Maybe you do need to improve in that realm. And maybe when you do see someone who does have that and they're doing it, it doesn't make you feel good because you know that you could be implementing some of those habits to help you feel better. So maybe there's some good in terms of seeing something from somebody and not feeling good, because maybe it kicks you in the ass to move in the right direction. Yes, it can go too far and it can get unhealthy mentally, but feeling good all the time isn't necessarily how things should be. At least I personally think that.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy. That's a good rant to end on.
Perfect. Everybody, thank you for checking out today's episode. Please drop those comments down below. Let us know what you guys think about today's conversation. Hit the like button, subscribe, and then if you're on Spotify, hit that follow and drop comments down below there as well. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project all over the place. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where are you at?
Discord's down below, guys. Join in for the Q&A that we have coming up. Ask questions there. Nsima Inyang on Instagram, YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark?
It's really weird. I can only close that gold one with my left hand. I'm not sure what the deal is. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. I'm at Mark Spinley Bell. Catch you guys later.
I hope this episode made you love yourself a little bit more and accept yourself just the way you are. But if you don't accept yourself just the way you are, and you should love yourself, but hey, if you want to know how long it takes to get jacked, check out this podcast right here and enjoy your wonderful day. You still here? You should click it. Click it now.